to actually properly have quite the attitude I wanted to, again, towards the people I was talking to regarding my plan to precisely berate them a bit, to tell them, that they were both immoral and irrational, and that we couldn't be friends as a result. Um, and I realize that this appears to be largely due just to the nature of the platform, um, which means that you are kind of still dependent on people, at least just symbolically, since you're not going to be talking to nobody. You need an audience. You're talking to an audience, and that makes it difficult. And again, another thing that makes it difficult is that just much of my talking here, I think, especially since it's a monologue, right? So a lot of it is just going to be explanatory, and it's hard to adopt a particularly different tone, or more of, for instance, a bit more stern tone, while at the same time just explaining things. Um, and as a result, I just recognize that it's not necessarily particularly viable to do this, at least over a long period of time. I mean, it's okay to just it's not really possible to do this, to be stern to someone over a long period of time. What you can do is just very briefly do so, but then you stop talking, right? And so basically, this has made me realize that I should just basically stop doing this. It made me realize, yeah, late last night, I realized that I was basically very inherently obsequious, really, right? To be doing this, to depend on others for your success like this, and especially if you don't agree with them, and if I want to see myself as superior to them, I shouldn't have to depend on them like that. Um, or at least, I shouldn't have to be required to talk to them. Um, I suppose, it would be quite different if if I was like the ruler of a country, and I would still be dependent on the people to do things, but I wouldn't have to talk to them, and I could actually just give them orders. And that is not the case here. And as a result, I feel it's kind of goes against my principles, right? And this again makes me realize I've been thinking about, getting girlfriends and then streaming with them, and I'm realizing that this isn't not what I want to do. It's not I because again, I don't want our success to depend on this mechanism, and on these other people that I still uh, ultimately don't think are worthy of, being the ones who grant us our success. I think we should be more self-made. Um, so as a result, I think both that I should quit now. In any case, I'm quitting. I didn't have the intention of streaming particularly more on Twitch. Um, but now I really have even less so, having seen what this is like, and especially, like I said, I was still especially leaving open the possibility of streaming with others. And now I don't think that that is something I want to do. Another thing is that I do kind of like, in theory, this idea of streaming, of sort of, showing myself to other people and having these interactions, and especially like if I had like girlfriends and stuff, that I thought that would be fun. Um, Especially as a way of like showcasing our own interactions. But I realized that I don't want that to be ultimately contaminated, so to speak, with oh, we can bring, wait, I'll just rid of this display capture here. I don't want to be contaminated um, by this, by others, by um, the type of interactions that I don't feel quite as wholesome and quite as good and engaging and enthusing. And so as a result, I think I'd just do videos that are then posted, but so it wouldn't be live, or if it is live, there wouldn't be interaction. So mostly, yeah, that's what I'm mostly saying, is that there wouldn't be um, any interaction with the audience. So it still wouldn't be like what I've been doing here. It still wouldn't be Twitch, right? Twitch is the fundamental things, and one fundamental aspect of it is the interaction with the audience. And I realized that that is not what I want. And so what I'm saying is that even like at any point, even if we had already gotten famous, I would have liked to do these videos showing ourselves, um, but not like this. So at no point do I want to have interaction with the audience, neither to get famous, which means that would really be depending on people, but neither after we're famous for just for the fun of it, or just to to show ourselves as an example. I wouldn't want to have an audience interaction precisely because I want to just keep it ourselves. And basically, I don't value the interaction with the audience enough. Even though there's a certain degree of enjoyment to it that I derive from it, it's not enough. It's not nice enough for me to consider it really worthwhile. For me to consider it something that I would actually want to do, that I actually value. Um, and so this explains why I'm deciding to quit. And I realize that, of course, I probably already said this, but this is largely why I had a hard time, being having this stern attitude to others um, and berating them in the way that I deemed fit. I had a hard time precisely because of this whole dependency, right? This whole that is sort of inherent to the platform, to the way that the whole thing works, and to just the system of interacting with the audience like this. There's an inherent obsequiousness, um, this inherent sort of tendency to have to pander to them, to have to be a fairly cordial to them at least. Even if you're not looking for success, right? But they're just like even if we're already super famous and rich and whatnot, um, if we were interacting with the audience somehow automatically, there's this expectation of you to then start, discussing with them, because otherwise, what are you even doing here? Um, that's in essence the issue with this. And so yeah, I realized in a sense I kind of failed to properly act like I wanted. But the thing is that yeah, it would have been absurd if I had, because then I would still, out on the one hand, be super stern and berating a person, like I said, but then at the same time I'd still be interacting with that person. Like, and it seems a bit absurd in the sense that if you really think that about a person, if you really think that that person is irrational and foolish, then why are you even still talking to that person, right? Um, and so this is the issue here. And so unfortunately, this prompts me or not unfortunately, actually, no, I'm glad, because I wanted to have some sort of resolution, some sort of finish to the whole story. Again, I'm looking to sort of cut loose ends, and so this is exactly the sort of thing I was actually looking for. Um, so hopefully this will not be construed as a form of giving up, or a form of cowardice in my attempts to prove that I was going to stop being nice to bad people, which was the basis of this, and which was a previous stream that I'd done apparently 7 months ago, which of course I said this, and so now like I said, I was saying I was keeping my word. I was gonna actually show myself doing this, and I realized that's really a lot more difficult than just deciding to do it. Um, and again, ultimately, this is just the format of of the streaming thing with the audience just doesn't lend itself to doing that particularly. Um, and especially also given that I'm always searching for my words, it makes it even much harder, right? Because I'm just spending my entire, like, just so much energy just looking for words in my mind, which is quite exhausting. I don't really have the energy to be focused on my tone and stuff like that. So I, as a result, because of all this, I'm quitting. And of course, if somebody had come just right now, as I was saying this, then I would have really tried um, to actually do what I had said I would do, right? To be more stern and to make all these things clear. But ultimately, in a way, that seemed a form of obsequiousness too, right? It's a form of dependency on others too, right? I would be waiting, like just like I was doing, I was waiting this whole time for them to come so that I could then tell them that actually they're beneath me. You know, it's even then you're sort of depending on them, right? Um, and so that is, I guess even that would be sort of imperfect in a way. And it seems maybe a bit kind of twisted. So so I think that's just I think it doesn't matter. I think it doesn't matter. I think I've I've done a fair attempt at doing that, and I've said the things I wanted to say, and uh, I tried multiple times, and I saw how difficult it was, and I think there just isn't um, that there, and at the same time, I don't want to just barge in and say right away these things without explanation. So I have to have this explanation, and so that makes it all a bit more neutral like that, and um, so I think I've kind of done more or less what one could expect, and so I'm not gonna try this anymore, and instead I'm just saying I'm quitting now, and um, that's it.